This time on Fifth Gear, former F1 driver Karun Chandhok joins me for an all-new hot hatch deathmatch.
Can you feel it hopping in the rear?
I can feel something hopping in my stomach.
Johnny gets a driving masterclass from Formula One instructor Rob Wilson.
I must say, you're a very elegant driver.
Am I?
The team, together with snooker legend Ronnie O'Sullivan, find out if Mercedes' first pickup truck is actually any good.
No, she's on. She's gone.
Jimmy DeVille shows us how to give a Golf GTI some extra grunt.
Oh, listen to that!
And Vicky finds the best second-hand pocket rockets that could be yours for under £4,000.
11 years on, it still looks like something from the future.
So here's the dilemma. You want to buy a car that handles like a go-kart and puts a grin on your face like a Cheshire cat every time you drive it. It's got to be fairly compact, it's got to have 4 seats, and it's got to have a decent boot. So I reckon you want a hot hatch, and I reckon you want one of these.
Fifth Gear loves hot hatches, and there's now a host of updated models to choose from. So we thought it was time to repeat a hot hatch deathmatch. Each boasts around 300 horsepower and are available for about £35,000 or less. Last time out, the Renault Megane triumphed, but who will it be this time? The Honda Civic Type R, the Audi S3 Sportback Quattro, the Seat Cupra R, or will the Renault Megane RS retain its crown?
So the stage is set for an epic battle, or as we like to call it, a hot hatch deathmatch. So all I need is a wingman, a fellow lunatic.
Hello.
Karun Chandhok, you'll do, dude.
Karun is an ex-Formula One and Formula E driver and an old mate of Fifth Gear's.
Oh!
Right then, to business. We've got 3 challenges to find out which car offers the ultimate in agility, cornering pace and lap speed, with the slowest being eliminated in each round.
We're kicking off with a tight and twisty course, including a roundabout and a reverse maneuver to measure each car's responsiveness.
It's all about the clock, and to ensure a fair result, I'll take the helm for all 4 runs.
While I man the stopwatch and struggle with life in the passenger seat.
Oh, look at that!
We're starting with the Type R.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, you fight.
Not quite as nimble as you'd like.
It's
Through
just-
there.
It's a bit understeering.
Oh.
There is definitely some interference.
Is it?
Yeah.
Right.
The 46-litre fuel tank has been moved forward from the boot to under the rear seats, which makes for better weight distribution. In fact, the Type R is the lightest car of our 4.
Right, to the roundabout. It is long, isn't it? Around this roundabout, this could get a bit tricky.
It doesn't feel very torquey, actually, because you need it so revvy. And there, look, it's a big turning circle.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Once it's actually... Oh, no, we're off the track.
Oh, we're off. Up to the line.
Yeah, look, it takes a while for the engine to spool itself.
Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Get on!
What is it?
40.73.
So the Honda puts down the initial marker. Next up, it's the Audi, the only 4-wheel drive car on test today.
3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, bit of launch. Wow, look at that.
I'll tell you what.
Ooh, got to the
Oh,
first
understeer.
course.
Can you feel the fronts?
Yeah. Oh, but the traction out of that was good.
4-wheel drive gives better traction than 2-wheel drive, so power is put down more efficiently in this car than the other 3.
Bit slow to get into reverse, isn't it?
Come on.
Come on. Now to the roundabout. Can the front end stay tucked in around the roundabout? Oh, this is just waiting here.
Come on,
Jason, how is it today?
I tell you
This is
what.
good, isn't it?
It doesn't like the roundabout.
Power, power, power. And we're heading up across the line. Whoa, that was good. It's good time, though.
Is it
40.4.
So the Audi is a touch faster than the Type R. Time to break out the Cupra. The rarest car here is Seat will only make 799, with just 24 coming to Britain.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh, bit of wind spin off the line.
Oh, yeah. See, can you feel it hopping in the rear?
feel something hopping in my stomach. Parking garage, get reverse.
Not very good at reversing.
Oh,
Wipers
the wipers
are on,
and
it's
everything.
still the wipers on. Go, 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 go. Now, to the roundabout.
A bit of torque steer there.
See what the front end's like as you brake it.
A bit of ABS going on there. It's 300 horsepower in front-wheel drive on a road car. It's quite a lot, isn't it?
At 1453 kilos, the Seat is almost as heavy as the Audi, but without the advantage of four-wheel drive.
Up to the
I tell you, they're
line.
good fun to drive, these cars. What have we got? What have we got?
You've got a 40.8.
Have we really?
That makes the Cupra the slowest car yet. Finally, it's the turn of the defending champion, the Renault Megane.
This car comes with four-wheel steer, which means the rear wheels angle slightly to help the car turn. So in theory, it should be super nimble.
3, 2, 1, go! Oh, bit of wheel spin there. Right, now four-wheel steering. Whoa!
What's that about? I tell you what, it's good fun, though.
Yeah, I tell you, it's helped you through there, I reckon. Reverse gear, get it in, get it in, get it in, get it in,
It's
get it
in.
in. Nice one. JP, you should come and parallel park for me. Maybe I'll employ you as my parking assistant.
The Megane is the only car here with a mechanical rather than an electronic handbrake.
Round for the handbrake. Oh, look at that!
This can be used to slide the back end to help the car to turn even quicker.
Up to the line.
Bit of lag there.
Right, powering up, powering up, powering up.
And it clearly helped.
Is it a blinder?
That was an absolute blinder.
What is it?
39.81.
The Megane wins the agility test by nearly a second. But more importantly, the Seat Cupra's time of 40.8 means it's squeezed out of the contest.
Join us later when we put the remaining 3 hottest of hatches through a cornering test before Karun and I go head-to-head in a race around the Anglesey circuit.
Next, we're off to Rockingham for a fifth gear team test, where special guest Ronnie O'Sullivan has come along for the ride as we get a quick first look and first drive of a brand new car.
So this time, the team tested the Mercedes X-Class.
And why are Mercedes building a pickup? Simply because more and more people are buying them and they want part of the action. There are 2 engines currently available, both diesel, and prices start at £34,000. But today we're testing the top-of-the-range 250D 4MATIC power model, which will set you back around 42 grand.
So this is the Mercedes pickup. A Mercedes pickup truck?
This is the first time a premium manufacturer has entered into the pickup market, and I am all for it. I love pickup trucks.
You can't have a 3-pointed star on the front of a pickup.
I liked it. I know Jason and Tiff didn't really like it.
It's not even a Mercedes-Benz.
It's a Nissan, isn't it? Underneath the badge, it's basically a Nissan Navara.
So this will be for people who need the extra space in the back and who've got to transport
And do you think they
people
would
or
put
kids in.
stuff in the back of that, like
Oh,
sand
for
and
sure.
cement? And
Yes. Yeah, of course.
In this?
Tiff and Jason don't know what they're talking about. It's a manual
But the
working
problem is,
car.
other people can pick up your goods you've got in the back, 'cause it's all open.
It's all, you have special covers over the top.
It's got, you know, in the back bit, the pickup bit, there's this cover thing, which is a bit of a fiddle to open. Who uses a key nowadays? There you go.
There you go.
I'm not getting in the back. I'm not getting in the back.
Once you get inside, you kind of feel the luxury. So for me, a massive plus point was the interior.
What do they call that? Brushed aluminium.
Brushed
More
aluminium.
the sport. That's a sporty type, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is murkish in the front. I mean, it's still an off-roady, pick-uppy type thing.
My missus would like it.
Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she would. Yeah, she likes it. She likes the
was-
G-Wagon.
was,
She likes all these pickup type trucks. I sometimes get a bit fed up of seeing all these big Range Rovers and cars like that. So I would definitely go for the Mercedes all day long.
Check this out.
It won't open. I've tried opening it.
Technology.
The best part about the Mercedes was driving it off-road.
Mercedes claim the X-Class is comfortable enough for families around town, but rugged enough for off-road work. So that's what we tested. Tiff was at the helm.
We'll just put a bit of lock on and put a bit of power on.
Tiff did some Tiff stuff.
Oh,
she donuts,
oh, a bit of donuts,
Rear-wheel
even
drive.
donuts, yeah.
It does donuts. So what more do you want? What a super car to have.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
It's a bit of understeer there.
Getting a bit dusty here.
It was impressive.
I'm not stopping, Vic.
It's
Now,
called
you'll have to stay on
suicide
board.
slope.
You'll have to stay on board. We're going up. We're going up.
He took one look at some steep slope and started telling Ronnie about what could go wrong, like it could roll over and roll down the hill and stuff.
I'm stuck, Vix. I'm stuck. Oh, I can't go forwards or backwards, Vix. Are you all right? I'm stuck.
Don't do this to
I
me.
can't- Oh, I don't know. It could be a cliff the other side. I'm not sure.
I don't. She's showing signs of
I'm not
hyperventilation.
sure what's the other side.
At that point, I was like, no, I've done enough off-roading with Tiff at the wheel. I'm out.
No, she's on. She's gone. You've done it again.
I had confidence in Tiff's driving ability, and he managed to kind of get it to the top.
It's just talk. It's all about, I mean, load. It's how you climb, you see.
Easy.
Once I saw that Tiff wasn't going to roll the car today, I got back in it, and then we went and did some other off-roading, and it was unbelievably competent.
Now that's much better, eh?
It was good fun.
I'm a Mercedes. You're not. You're a Nissan. The three-pointed star deserves 3 points.
A 7.
Smack in the middle, 5.
I'm going to give the X-Class 7.5, which gives the Mercedes X-Class a team test score of 22.5.
Join us after the break for the continuation of our hot hatch deathmatch.
Oh, a little bit oversteer.
While Vicky takes a look at some second-hand versions you can buy for a fraction of the price.
Great handling, great looks, and great build quality. Nothing second-rate about that.
If you were watching before the break, you'll know that Jason and Karun are testing 4 of the best hot hatches currently on sale, all of which can be yours for under £35,000.
But I'm not bitter. No, really, I'm not, because I've got a day with these 3.
A Series 3 Honda Civic Type R, a Mark II Ford Focus ST, and a Mark V Golf GTI.
And here's the really good news. All these cars are now available for under £4,000.
I'll begin with the Japanese one.
This car's predecessor, the EP3, was an absolute screamer. You put your foot down on the throttle and eventually you got 197 brake horsepower.
The all-or-nothing power delivery was thrilling in short doses, but tough to live with on a daily basis. This car, which was launched in 2007, sorted all that out.
Honda decided to flatten out the torque curve so the power delivery was more evenly spread. And despite being heavier than its predecessor, its 0 to 62 time is faster, taking 6.6 seconds. And that's mainly thanks to shorter gear ratios. Plus, just look at it. 11 years on, it still looks like something from the future, inside and out. At under £4,000, this car is an absolute steal. The car's had a decent amount of standard equipment on, but 80% of UK buyers paid another £1,000 for the GT pack. Now, that got you fog lights, climate control, and something which might sit oddly with your hot hatch beliefs, cruise control.
So, what should you be wary of if considering one of these cars?
Another reason why this car has made it onto our heroes list is because nothing much goes wrong.
Although it inherited a similar 2-litre variable valve engine from the EP3, it doesn't suffer the same oil consumption issues.
But whatever car you drive, always keep an eye on the dipstick.
A few people have reported the car jumping out of third gear, which requires replacing the synchro at a cost of around £900.
And some have complained that the brake pedal can feel a bit dead, but that's easily solved with some uprated pads. And that's it. Happy days.
Next, the Focus ST.
Some regard this ST as a poor relation to the all-singing, all-dancing RS. But that's not really fair because this car was and remains in a completely different price bracket.
What's far more important is to judge the car against its direct competitors at the time. And when you do, it begins to make perfect sense.
For example, with 222 brake horsepower, it is the most powerful of the three cars here. It's also got the quickest 0 to 62 time and the highest top speed at 152 miles an hour. Nothing second-rate about that.
And that grunt comes courtesy of a 5-cylinder 2.5-litre borrowed from Volvo, but then heavily modified.
Make no mistake, this is a good hatch. It's got 3 of the main ingredients needed: a good chassis, a peppy engine, and the ability to put a smile on my face. There were 3 levels of spec, ST1 being the entry level, and ST3 was the one which ticked pretty much every box on the options list, so aim for one of those if you can.
What must you look out for?
What looks like mayonnaise on the oil filler cap and a misfire at startup is a sure sign that one of the cylinder head linings has split, and this is a common fault in cars made up to 2008. If that happens, there's no turning back, I'm afraid. A new engine.
Clutches are weak, so many owners fit the more beefy one used in the RS. It'll cost you nearly £1,000, but should be money well spent. Also, watch out for the rubber boots on the drive shafts, which are prone to splitting.
It costs pennies to replace, but ignore it and you could end up with a £400 drive shaft bill.
And so to our last car, the Golf GTI.
You may think of VW as the hot hatch king, so it's no surprise to see one of its cars in our lineup. However, it's easy to forget that VW once lost its way. The Mark 1 and 2 Golf GTI were utterly fantastic, so much so that I bought a Mark 2. But the 3 and 4 from the late 90s and early noughties were utterly forgettable.
But then this, the Mark 5, came along in 2004, and instantly all their woes were forgotten. Nearly 200 brake horsepower, produced by a 2-litre turbo engine that just wanted to go and go.
And then there's the chassis. It is incredibly confident around the corners, and it's got an ESP traction control system that actually lets you have a bit of fun. So great handling, great looks, and great build quality.
So, is there a downside?
Well, not really. The engine makes a bit of a din on idle, but that's normal. However, if you detect a rattle once you're on the move, it could be the high-pressure fuel pump, which is on the blink. VW recommends that you change this every 20,000 miles as a precaution. If you've got a car fitted with the optional DSG gearbox, then have it serviced every 40,000 miles. It has its own oil and filter. If you don't, the car can start lurching away from a standstill, and you could end up lurching your way to the bank.
The combined cost of these 3 cars would be less than a new base model Fiesta. But where would I spend my money?
And it is a really difficult one. The Ford is fun, the Honda is exciting, but it is the VW that I could live with every day.
Right then, time to return to our deathmatch, where we're putting 4 sub-35 grand hot hatches under the 5th gear microscope. The Honda Civic Type R, Audi S3 Sportback, Seat Cupra R, and the Renault Megane RS.
Now, in part 1, we tested all 4 cars in an agility test.
Oh, look at that! The Seat was eliminated, which leaves us with the Audi, the Honda, and the Renault. Now, I think it's my turn to have a go, isn't it?
Our next challenge is all about cornering ability, because any decent hot hatch should have plenty of grip through the twisty stuff in order to keep the speed up.
We've chosen a high-speed corner here at the track, and the mission is simple: to find out which car can get around the bend the quickest.
Whilst Karun is behind the wheel, I'll be manning the speed gun from the sidelines. Now, normally, I wouldn't stand so close to a corner, but as Casey's an ex-F1 driver, I think my no claims bonus will stay intact. Karun will get 2 attempts in each machine. First up, the Honda.
Honda have put in an adaptive damping system into this car as standard, so the Civic Type R should, in theory, be able to manage the weight distribution and the speed and give me the optimum damping through the fast corner.
Adaptive damping automatically adjusts the suspension, preventing excess body roll, giving more grip to the inside wheels and making the car slide out less.
Well, on looks alone, this should be the fastest because it looks insane.
So here I come. into the corner. That was pretty good.
Not a bad first effort. 79.
The car feels pretty well balanced, I must say, through there.
Could Karun improve with his second go?
Should I stand back another pace?
I might take a step back if I were you.
He's going to give it the big one.
Got to get this engine revving high. What was that?
Jan, it was faster or slower than the previous one?
A little bit more understeer with that one.
81. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
So the Type R has laid down the gauntlet. Next up, the four-wheel drive Audi.
I predict this will be a little slower initially until he gets dialed in.
I'm going to carry the speed in. And it's got understeer and understeer and understeer and understeer.
74 miles an hour, slower, and he missed the apex, so he's getting no lunch.
The amount of understeer through the corner means you just can't carry the speed through there.
Understeer means that the front of the car wants to wash out wide in the corner, and fighting that inevitably slows it down.
That was 74, mate.
That speed was a bit rubbish. Click the car in. Oh, it's got so much understeer.
76.
I thought the front end would tuck in much better than that.
Yeah, do you know what? That's Audi, isn't it? Four-wheel drive understeer. Safe, but dull.
So, in case you haven't got the message, the S3 suffers from understeer, and that's resulted in a maximum speed that's a full 5 mile an hour down on the Honda.
Time for the final hot hatch and the winner of Test 1, the Megane.
The Renault Megane might have the least amount of power out of the 4 cars we've got today, but I think this test is all about handling, and it's got a really good chance.
So, judging by the way the Megane was through the slalom, I think I might just step a bit over this way because it was a bit oversteery, but let's see.
Oversteer means the car wants to over-rotate going into a corner, which is a definite advantage when those are the things you want to go around.
Carrying the speed in, oh, a little bit of oversteer on the way in. But the nose just stays planted. I'm able to carry so much more speed through the apex of the corner.
78. First go.
It just feels more fun to drive. A little bit edgy, but yeah, I enjoy that.
Mate, I reckon you can go much faster than that.
I was slightly offline, to be honest. What was that?
I'm not going to tell you. Please try harder.
Casey doesn't know it, but already the Megane is faster than the Audi. However, with one run left, can it beat the Honda?
I think this will be good, actually. $81. That's pretty good.
Once I got the line hooked up, I could get on the power and drive out of the corner better than any of the others.
Nevertheless, the Megane and Civic end up in a dead heat at 81 miles an hour. And we say auf Wiedersehen to the S3. Which means the Honda and the Renault go through. Join us later when we find out who's king of the track in a flat-out race.
The little cheeky blinder.
After the break, Johnny learns the secrets of driving the Formula One way.
Turn now, change now. Good, full throttle.
And fifth gear spanner man Jimmy DeVille makes a Golf GTI go even faster.
Those carburetors just brings it all to life.
Now it's over to fifth gear's resident car builder and all-round mechanical marvel.
I'm Jimmy DeVille, and I've dedicated my life to doing mad things with engines. I've built everything from 700 horsepower off-road buggies to full-blown racing cars. I'm going to demonstrate how you can easily transform the performance, handling or comfort of your car with a few basic tools and a few hours of your time. Today, I've got my hands on an icon, the Mark II Golf GTI. It was the car that everyone wanted to drive in the 80s, and it's still loads of fun to chuck around. And part of the car's success was the way the fuel was delivered.
When this car was new, fuel injection was something pretty special. It was the I in GTI.
However, the injection system in this car is quite antiquated and won't permit a power upgrade. 35 years ago, 110 horsepower seemed like more than enough. But hot hatch performance has moved on, so the Golf could do with a boost.
Now, I could install a modern-day fuel injection system that would give me more performance and would be adjustable, but that would cost me about £3,500, and that's a lot of money.
So instead, I'm going old school and installing a set of these Weber 45 carburetors for about £1,000.
It may seem counterintuitive to fit carbs to a car that was best known for not having any, but trust me, there is logic at work here.
Unlike a fuel injection system, which uses complex electronics to pump a precise amount of fuel and air into the engine, carburetors simply suck that mixture in. Cruder they might be, but when set up properly, they also allow more air and fuel to enter the engine, which increases the power. And because they're simple, they're not difficult for a home mechanic to install and tune. In fact, fitting these Webers will increase the Golf's power by around 20 horsepower, or nearly 20%, and that's going to make a big difference to its get up and go. And don't think that the Golf GTI is the only car that could benefit from this. Most vehicles with early injection systems could see similar improvements.
This job requires me to work with the electrical system and the fuel system, and there is plenty of air around, so any unwanted sparks could make bad things happen. So first job for safety is to disconnect the battery.
To make space for the new carbs, I've got to replace the inlet manifold with a smaller version. This is the metal casing that feeds the air into the cylinders. And doing that means removing the easy bits that are in the way. The air filter, hoses and throttle cable. Then I need to disconnect the old injection system.
That's the injector rail out. Now, the last job is the inlet manifold.
Small hands with strong fingers are a bonus.
You beauty. Not without a fight, but that is the inlet manifold off.
Having drained the fuel lines, the next step is to replace the fuel pump, which is held in by a couple of bolts.
This is the old fuel pump, and it works on 8 bars, which is quite high pressure. Now, the new system only works on 2 bars, which is a lot lower.
The new fuel pump fits in exactly the same place as the original. It fits easily, however, this one doesn't have an integral fuel filter. But don't worry, I'll be dealing with that problem a bit later.
Done! First thing to go back on is the new inlet manifold and, of course, a brand new gasket.
The gasket forms an airtight seal between the two metal surfaces. And once the manifold is in place, the new carbs bolt straight onto that.
I'm just reconnecting the fuel system to the new carbs. Now, if you remember, when I disconnected the fuel pump, away with it came the old fuel filter. Now, it's really important that all cars have a fuel filter because it stops debris going inside the engine, which will absolutely destroy it.
So, the first thing to do is cut the fuel pipe to create a gap for the filter.
Now, I'm going to be fitting this, an inline fuel filter. It only cost about £4. Now, fuel filters are something that are quite easy to change on your car. It might not be in the same place, but when you know where they are, you can simply change it and put a new one on. Make sure you read the instructions, and that'll keep it running sweet as a nut.
And finally, I've got to reconnect the throttle cable.
OK, this is the moment of truth. Everything is fitted. Now it's time to see if all that hard work has paid off and this actually works. Paul, you ready? Fire her up. The fuel's just coming back in through the system, so it's going to take a little bit of time. There it goes. Hey. All right, you can hear that this is running, but at the moment these carbs aren't balanced, so it's not running at all well. So the last job to do is use this, a carburetor balancing tool, to get these two set up and synchronised so it runs sweet. This tool only costs £35, and in a job like this, it's invaluable.
This carburetor balancing tool measures the airflow into the carbs. It's showing that one is sucking less air than the other, so I need to adjust them until they're matching. Perfect.
Now that's what it should sound like. Golf GTI was looking a little bit grey in the face and down in the dumps, but now we've done this work, it's brought it smack bang up to date. And there's another big plus point to this modification: the noise. When we're in the workshop, these carbs sounded great, but I tell you what, now we're out on the open road, they sound absolutely epic. Even when this Golf was fresh out of the box, it didn't quite have this personality. That note of those carburetors just brings it all to life. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo!
Right, over to Johnny, who's about to get schooled in the art of race driving.
To say I'm excited would be a gross understatement, because today, just for the day, I'm going to be a Formula One driver. And here's where I'm going to do it. Bruntingthorpe Proving Ground. What's more important is the person who's going to teach me. His name is Rob Wilson. It's unlikely you've ever heard of him, but in this unassuming corner of Leicestershire, he has taught and continues to teach some of the world's greatest Formula One drivers, including Kimi Räikkönen and Valtteri Bottas. Yeah. With A-listers like that, he must know what he's doing. Presumably you're going to use something quite exotic, you know, a real fast, sharp driver's tool. I'm thinking, what, Lamborghini, Ferrari, something Italian, maybe Lotus, maybe Aston. That. I have to say, I actually thought it was a bit of a joke at first. I don't believe that Formula One drivers drive that with you in.
All drive that car.
All of them?
Yes.
Räikkönen, Astra.
Astra Ferrari.
Bottas, Astra.
Astra Mercedes, yeah.
Some drivers visit Rob over 10 times a year for this experience. And he really just does Astras. Sometimes petrol, but mostly diesel. I'm gonna have to go and sit down. I need to sit down anyway and take all of this ridiculous clobber off.
Yes, put something else on, of course. We don't do it naked.
Before I could learn the tricks of this man's trade, Rob had to assess my current level. And I had to learn Rob's unique track layout. I'm a very slow learner when it comes to tracks. Out of all the presenters on this show, probably the least racy. We went out for a couple of sighting laps because he's added in some cones and some intricacies.
Now we're going to turn right down here, around that tight hairpin, Lowe's hairpin at Monaco. Obviously you recognise it.
Yeah.
And then we have to turn down.
Oh, you have to go, you're going around. Oh, so you're not going under the aircraft?
Sometimes,
okay,
but not really.
Now I know the layout of the track, it's time to lay down a lap time.
That's
hard. Rob raced cars himself for nearly 4 decades, competing at Daytona and Le Mans, and he's been teaching the technicalities of driving fast for over 30 years. And now I was going to benefit from his skills, a process which started with the handover of his high-tech timing mechanism.
This is the stopwatch.
Do you trust me with what is clearly a sacred phone?
Yeah, everything's on that phone somewhere.
I want to download that man's Nokia phone because he will have an awful lot of amazing contacts. If it rings and it's somebody with a very, important name on there...
Important on there, answer the phone.
Answer it. Yeah. Rob's a bit busy right now. No fewer than 11 of the current Formula One grid have been taught by him. And we'd barely got going before Rob destroyed my first rule about going faster.
The line is not quite as critical as people think. It's more the shape of the corner.
OK. Hang on. I always thought that the line or the path through a corner was one of the big deals about quick lap times. Next, he'll be telling me that smooth steering wasn't important.
Lift turn, short corner.
And he was telling me, treat it like a 50p piece. You're straight as much as possible, and when you turn a small amount and straighten up again.
Gentle firm, down, decrease the pressure, sharp weight.
By turning one big bend into a series of smaller ones, the car is going in a straight line for longer, so less speed is scrubbed off. Whilst having a casual chat, Rob and his loafers managed to complete the lap in 1 minute, 28.5 seconds. To put that in context, his best Formula One drivers are only half a second quicker. More importantly, it was over 15 seconds quicker than my time. So, under Rob's instruction, how much could I improve?
I must say, you're a very elegant driver.
Am I?
It's like seeing a shrink whilst driving an Astra as fast as you can.
Really, we're looking at where do we want to get to, not where are we leaving from.
And he's just constantly, quietly kind of feeding me a couple of tips.
I changed to fourth gear just now,
and just gently pushing my left hand if I need to go tighter or need to unwind a bit more on the steering.
Flat sections we find out.
And you get absorbed into his world.
Just guide the wheel gently towards where you're going to go, and between that kind of
right.
And then take.
And he is like an Astra whisperer.
Turning out, we need a little more effort with our dynamics there.
Yeah. The first big problem Rob identified was my feet.
He'd be a bit lazy coming up to braking areas. Now up here, now brake harder, turn sharper. He'd sometimes come off the throttle a bit before he went on the brake for a bit too long. Downshift dedic, slower, lighter, sharper.
I personally, and probably many other amateurs, would tend to come off hard braking suddenly.
You could have got, no, that's too sudden off the brake. And so suddenly the weight would come off the nose of the car and it would start to understeer. It wouldn't corner quite as well. Lighter, sharper. Yeah, they still come off the brake, a bit of an on-off switch there.
And he is showing me to come off softer.
Harder, go lighter now on the brakes, lighter.
Thus, the car unsettles slower.
That's good.
And a settled car accelerates more quickly. But was I actually going any faster?
The last lap was a 36.6.
36?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Within a couple of laps, Rob had chopped a full 7 seconds off my lap time. Remarkable. Now it was time to concentrate on Rob's unnatural cornering technique.
And then it's in at a bit more of a diagonal. Yeah, now the join isn't abrupt like that. You know, it's still got to be introduced, followed by that.
It's bizarre. When you're doing it, it feels like it's going to be slower and less productive. But Rob's methods were decimating my lap times.
That's 33.9.
That's a full 10 seconds off my original time. And it had other benefits. I get the impression that this information I can translate to the road.
Well, that's very, very true, because going around a corner and getting a bit of steering out of it like that will save tyre wear.
After just an hour's tuition, it was time for a final flat-out lap. Just how fast could I go?
Change now. Good, full throttle, flat car again, follow the grass.
I realise now why he uses the Astra, because it's a great leveller.
Then sharper, full throttle, straight to it early with the car, yeah.
What he does is not about the car. It's actually about you and the way you behave behind the wheel.
Nice footwork there.
Which you can then apply to any car.
132.5.
Was it really?
It was a genuine net gain of, 11 seconds.
He was really pleased with it, and if he's pleased with it, I'm pleased with it, because I didn't have much of a reference point, if I'm honest.
Well, this is only me with you for like an hour and...
I know. We know the car has a 128.1 in it, which would be around about Formula One pace, and I would have thought that 3 days with Johnny, because he is a natural driver, we could get down to within about half a second of that.
The potential to be just half a second slower than Bottas and Raikkonen. I'll take that.
Next, the deciding round of our hot hatch deathmatch. A flat-out race.
I'm in the gap,
Yes!
Welcome back to the final part of fifth gear and also the grand finale of our hot hatch deathmatch. We started off with 4 300 horsepower pocket rockets, all of which cost less than 35 grand. So far, we've waved goodbye to the Seat Cupra, which lacked in the agility stakes.
Can you feel it hopping in the rear?
And when it came to outright cornering pace, the Audi couldn't quite keep up.
Charging up, flick the car in. Oh, it's got so much understeer. And that means we're now left with these two, the Honda Civic Type R and the Renault Megane RS.
Well, I've driven one, you've driven one. How are we going to play this?
We're both going to have a go. Which one do you fancy?
Heads, I get the Honda. Tails, you get the Honda.
Okay.
Heads, I get the Honda. Sweet.
There you go.
The recipe is simple. A 2-lap race to find out which car has the best all-round handling and performance. There can only be one winner.
With identical 0 to 62 times of 5.8 seconds, there's nothing in it as we round the first king.
I'm in the gap,
But the second corner is all about how well each car can brake into it and accelerate out again.
Oh, JP's coming down the inside into the hairpin. He's got the braking performance, that Honda. That's seriously good.
Let's see if we can pull out a bit of a gap.
I'm all over the back of him through the quick corner. I'm going to have so much more speed.
Now, that Megane, the front end's got a bit more grip.
And that's down to the Megane's four-wheel steering system, which helps cornering speed.
Okay, in the slipstream, in the slipstream. Here we go, here we go, here we go, down the inside. Oh, he's got better brakes though, but I'm gonna just dive.
Oh, look, he's nearly overcooked it.
Yes! This is where this Megane comes into its own.
Yeah, look at that, just a tiny bit more traction. This is the killer corner.
Flick the car in, and he's got no chance compared to me.
Look, I've got understeer, and he's pulling away slightly.
Into the corkscrew.
But I've got a bit more horsepower than he does, so I'm going to be a bit faster in a straight line. Come on, good exit, JP. There we go. Right, so now I've got the run on him.
He's got better straight line speed, and into that hairpin, he's going to have the advantage. Oh, he's coming, he's coming. Oh.
Yes, I'm in.
Yet again, I'd got the Megane at the hairpin.
There's a little bit of inside wheel spin. This needs a slightly more aggressive limited slip diff.
Oh, he's got power.
Now I'm going to block him here.
But he's now covering the inside. It's a smart cookie, JP. It's not his first race, is it?
He's shown me his hand. I'm not going to give him space.
OK, this is where I'm going to get it on him here.
So this is where we're going to struggle understeer.
Yeah, there we go. He's gone wide. Into the corkscrew.
Oh, he's the little cheeky blinder. Oh.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. One corner to go. Don't mess this up.
Tell you what, it's close though, isn't it?
Last corner, last corner, last corner. Oh, it was close. Wow.
Interesting. There's nothing in it. I reckon, what, a second? Less than?
Less than. I mean, I had to have a proper go at you into the corkscrew to make it happen.
They do this similar outsides, but in a different way.
Yeah.
This feels a bit quicker in the fast corners, definitely faster down the straight, but that just looks more agile, less understeer, more nimble.
Yours is really good on the brakes.
Yeah.
When you came down the inside at the hairpins, there was no way I could have braked where you did. But in those medium slow speed corners, I could see you wanting to go there, but the car's sort of going in another way.
But they're both great fun cars, aren't they?
Yeah. I know one won the race, but it's hard to pick one over the other, really, isn't it?
Megane wins by a sniff.
In fact, the Megane has seen off 3 of its closest competitors. Right now, it's the one to beat.